And our money man, business and market analyst, and Newsmax contributor Seth Denson and Dan Geltrude. They are in studio with us, which is so exciting because usually I just see you on Zoom or Skype.
They're hiding, after earlier, they're hiding the coffee. We went out there like, no guys, no coffee for y'all.
If you all weren't watching at our 7 o'clock hour, I do want to point out something very important. Your shoes. Can we just show your shoes?
Let me once again.
They're great.
I know you're having trouble with this because
Seth needs sunglasses.
Seth doesn't actually have an eye for fashion, as you can see, but...
I love it. I love it. We had a great time last hour. I want to talk about something that, we've been talking about this for a while now since COVID is working from home. Companies were forced to have employees work from home. A lot of employees were trying to do that. So do you think that this is going to be the norm, working from home? I'll start with you, Dan.
Yeah, I do. I think this is now a permanent way of life for us. Now, think about where we were just a couple years ago. No one would have imagined basically the entire workforce working from home. Could the technology handle it? So many questions. But look at where we are now. Studies are finding that employees are even more productive working from home. So I think work-life balance, this is here to stay.
You're shaking your head.
Well, listen, and I'll be careful because I'm going to get mean tweeted here in a minute saying Seth doesn't want to thumb on America. No, listen, corporate America does not think out of the box well. Let's just be real about that. And I think that right now, because of the labor market the way it is, corporate America is reacting appropriately, trying to offer more flexibility. But as those winds start to shift, I do think that corporations will bring people back to the office. It's a matter of time. And I mean, listen, we're in New York City today. Look around. There are cranes literally everywhere. I assure you they're not building these new buildings with the idea that people will be working from home.
Well, I'm not so sure that they have that correct, Seth. To me, the reason why this is here to stay is it becomes a win-win for everyone. Let's look at the employer side. Number one, they're going to save money on office space because they need a lot less. Two, they're going to be able to compete for talent, not just in this country, but around the world, because if people are working remotely, you can get people anywhere, the best and brightest, to work for you. So geographic location is not going to hold them back.
Yeah, and I agree with that, except for the fact that, listen, follow the money. So many of the banking institutions own assets in commercial real estate.
Yeah.
So as we start to think about unpacking that is not in their financial best interest to keep people at home. Maybe mom and pop companies or maybe small organizations. I think there'll still be some of that. But I think we do ultimately return back. And I will tell you, as someone who is a social person, I like to be around people, I fear this idea. We already have now social media. People don't connect. They don't engage.
Yeah.
And now we're telling them, oh, by the way, you're not going to connect at work either. You're going to stay home. I fear the agoraphobic society that we're creating unless we get people back.
Yeah, Tom, I think, Tom, you wanted to weigh in. Do you have a question?
Yeah, guys, I'm really enjoying the conversation. Here's my big question about the whole work at home thing. Real estate and the impact of real estate on the economy. In the city of New York, for instance, 52% of the tax revenue comes from real estate. If you have all these buildings with nobody in them, how does that impact the overall economy?
Yeah, America's accountant.
Well, listen, Tom, listen, it's a huge challenge. There's no question about it. But think about what's going on in new residential construction. Homes are now being built to make room for office space. So this trend of people working from home, that's why I keep saying this is the way of the future. It's going to be permanent, and corporate America is going to have to adjust. Corporate America is not always right.
Yeah, Tom, and I tend to agree on the short term with this, but at the same time, you said the very first word of that, trend. I think this is a trend. And I think that as soon as the labor market shifts once again, corporations are going to go back to what they know best, which is governance and oversight. And again, don't discount the number of assets that are held in this real estate market that big corporations certainly don't want people staying home.
Do you think, though, that if they say, okay, come back to work, we want you here, they'll be a little bit more flexible and say, be here 3 days, you can work from home 2 days to accommodate people? You think they're going to finally move in that direction?
I know that we're doing that at our firm, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that we did is we created a work from home day, or as much as you want flex time. And you have to. In this environment, you got to be more flexible with your workforce. But at the same time, interestingly enough, we had a lot of our employees say, we want to come back.
Yeah.
We miss our friends. We miss the people we collaborate with.
There is something to be said about, being in the workforce and being able to communicate with your friends where you're not just texting and Zooming. So,
Well, the socialization, no
Yeah.
doubt. I mean, Seth brought up a point that said he's a social creature. He likes to talk to people. The question is, do people want to talk to him? So let's consider that.
all right, well, we got to go. It's so great to have you guys in the studio. Seth Denson Dan Geltrude.
Together on the couch.
Thank you so much. All right, stay with us. The Capitol is up to gutters and crises and potential disasters, from the supply chain to vaccine mandates. We're breaking it all down with a senior member of the House Armed Services Committee.